What's up, YouTube? This is Godless Future, and this is going to be my first video. So, this is going to be a video response to Sargon of Akkad in his recent video, How to Solve the Female Convict Problem. I've been watching his videos for a few months now, and I wouldn't say I'm a fan, but I do enjoy his videos, and for the most part, I'm on his side on the vast majority of these issues, especially feminism in general. But sometimes I feel that when he makes these videos, he either misses certain points or doesn't articulate what he actually means very well, or at least attack whatever it is he's addressing in a very efficient manner. And this recent video, I felt the need to, I would not criticize, but critique the way he addressed the issue. Like, for the most part, like I'm pretty sure I agree with what he's trying to say, but I feel that he could have articulated it much better. I mean, when you're dealing with feminists, you're not actually ever going to win an argument against one. At least the more rabid elements that identify themselves as feminists. I mean, you're pretty much going to get called a misogynist, and that'll be that. But what matters when you're making videos like these, at least I feel should matter, or that segment of the audience, you usually don't even see them comment, because they usually don't have an opinion on any side strong enough to want to voice any opinion on the subject. These people tend to be on the fence, and if you aren't making your case in a way that makes it easy for these people to see where you're coming from, it almost makes your video pointless. At least what I would consider pointless, given that you're going to spend this energy addressing this topic. You of course would want to at least achieve some kind of goal of convincing at least some people to come to your side. And usually I consider you do a rather decent job at calling feminism out on its bullshit. But this recent video, I feel the need to at least address certain points and maybe bring certain flaws to your attention that you could address in later videos. And basically, I mean this in good faith, and hopefully you can see my critique is something valuable. So let's get started with the first part of the video, and yeah.
That history can transform otherwise normal prison protocols, such as strip searches, supervised showers, and physical restriction of movement, into traumatic experiences. I rather think that is the point of prison. You seem to have prison confused with a holiday park.
So yeah, pretty much anyone that listens to this spot can probably see what I may see as something he could have articulated a little bit better. I'm pretty sure Sargon didn't mean to sound like he was insinuating that women getting groped in his strip shirts, or shakedown, what do you want to call it, was a good thing. I'm sure he didn't mean that at all. Matter of fact, I think maybe in retrospect, listening to this clip, he might also find that he didn't sound like what I think he was intending to say, which I think he was trying to say that prison is supposed to pretty much suck all around. It is pretty much the darn point of it. I don't think he meant that groping should be part of it, but to the casual listener, they could easily obtain that interpretation from this clip just by being a passive listener alone. You don't even need any rose-tinted glasses from a feminist to misinterpret this point quite a bit. And given that this is only part of the way into your video, I think it was about the 3-minute or so mark, maybe 4. When you have I think it was a 17-minute video total, yeah, you don't want something like this early on, putting off a potential person on the fence. I'm pretty sure Sargon can understand what I'm getting at here if he re-listens to that one clip. I think it would have been better if he maybe made a side note about maybe the awkwardness of a shakedown for a female, to kind of clarify his point in there probably would have like made it easier to understand exactly what the hell you're getting at, and that you weren't insinuating that groping should be part of the prison process. I'm pretty darn confident that you're not meaning that at all.
Progress is being made to address some of these problems that are holding women's prisons back from being utopian holiday camps. Nationally, prison reform advocates are pushing for gender and trauma-responsive policies, and some facilities have made efforts to customize their education and training programs for women inmates. What are they doing? Sewing and baking?
This one doesn't stand out as much as the previous clip, but what I'm going to point out is the remark about the baking and sewing comment. I get that, at least I believe you were making a mockery of the absurdity of a gender-based training. Like, what the fuck does that mean? You think, from the feminist perspective, that the existence of such thing would be put into question. I mean, if women should be able to be excelling in all fields at that 50% ratio equal to their population, etc., then why would there be gender-based training programs? But I feel you could have articulated that better. The casual viewer probably would have only saw that as a sexist remark, and given the casual viewer isn't usually hyper-analytical about things, they likely would have started dismissing the rest of your video if they hadn't already dismissed it for the first thing that I pointed out. And again, since these people on the fence are kind of the point of videos like these, I feel that catering to them a little more in terms of how you describe these absurd things that you want to point out would probably be more productive for you, anyways. For our point of view in general.
Prisons have established nurseries that allow the women to care for their young children during a portion of their sentence. Well, I'm glad they're getting all their primary needs tended to. It's really good to hear. I hate to think of someone in prison going out without something they want. That would be horrible.
This is the second time were deliberately insensitive to the women losing their children thing. I get the absurdity of having a nursery and the damn prison for women to take care of the children. Though, that said, not all women that go to jail are going for something super serious, so part of me wants to be sympathetic. Although, it does seem ridiculous, but I feel that you should tread lightly here. Because even in most cases, women having their children sent to adoption for going to jail is usually seen as a bit of a cruel thing, regardless of what your political spectrum is. And so when you're being sarcastic on a subject like this, it's going to put people off that you may or be wanting to trying to convince to your side here. And it's hard for me to tell exactly where you're going to be coming from on this specific point. But again, I at least caution you to tread lightly here, because it doesn't really facilitate what you're trying to achieve with this, and that is point out the feminist stupidity on women's issues like this. But, honestly, I don't know, because again, without actually knowing exactly what you were trying to get out here, I can't actually give you an example of how a better way of articulating it was. It really depends on what you intended. But I just feel like you could have addressed this in a more direct manner, in addition to pointing out the absurdity of some of this crap that they were saying.
He implemented programs that would get the women closer to nature and to their families through activities like movie nights and carnival-style Children's Day. Yeah, that sounds awesome. That sounds amazing. I would love movie nights if I'd gone to prison. Throughout their stay, women are invited to give feedback on the support and training they receive to help them recover and grow. Recover from what?
This one, I think, is just a bit of ignorance on the subject of prison populations. Yeah, some of it sounds a little absurd, but pay attention to the wording. I feel what they were getting at are reward mechanisms for people that are doing good behavior, and that emphasis on healing themselves, I think, had more to do with the fact that succeeding at teaching these people not to do criminal behavior, which is actually an important part of putting people in prison. It's not just about punishing people. Often people who go to prison are literally the dumbasses of society, and sometimes rewarding them for making positive changes can't help things. Now, yeah, that 1% thing was a bit small, but to be honest, this emphasis, especially here in America, you're in Britain, so you may not be as obvious, but there's been this trend in the United States about overemphasizing punishment over all other avenues of the prison process, and teaching people to not only reintegrate with society, but also just to kind of fix some of their own bad attitudes and whatnot, and rewarding them for that can be a positive thing. I think that's what they were trying to get at here. So part of me thinks that maybe your emphasis on the feminist bullshit through most of this video, or at least most of the things you cover in this video, because you weren't actually attacking a video here, you might have gotten to the point where you kind of overemphasize this. A feminist element I don't even think that was quite there in this article, although there were elements that were absurd. I feel that the way you address this particular article seemed to have more to do with ignorance than it did the usual pointing out of bullshit that you would normally see. I'm kind of rambling on at this point, because again, this is probably the only case where I'm not critiquing you. I'm actually disagreeing with you to a certain extent. I mean, really, that's all I have to say on that issue. It's just I feel that maybe sometimes you have a rose-tinted glasses of your own on this subject, because you're so used to looking for feminist bullshit to call out that sometimes you're going to see in areas where that may or may not be. Combined with a subject that you may not understand too well, you may be misinterpreting what this article was trying to say. At least from my knowledge in the subject looking at this wasn't as much of a feminist thing as it was just something that does sound a little absurd, but could have been articulated itself better. So at least that's my thoughts on that. I don't really have advice for this other than maybe tread lightly, I guess. This wasn't really a big issue, but it was something I felt worth mentioning, that maybe certain subjects that you haven't put that much effort into, like understanding the prison system as a whole and like how it all's supposed to work and how things are supposed to emphasize, you should tread more lightly on what you're going to call out versus what is actually being said, because we all have these these lenses that we look at things through on everything. I got it, you have it on certain things, and trying to minimize that can be. I mean, obviously you would try. I just felt like you kind of failed at a debate here. I mean, I'm kind of stating the obvious at this point, so I think I'll move on. Though honestly, I think that's the last major thing that I felt. Well, not really something major, but things that I feel that maybe you could benefit from if I point out. I mean, ultimately, I mean this video in good faith. I enjoy your channel. I enjoy your videos. I may not always agree with things, but I feel that you could do at least a little better at what you're doing, even though what you've done so far, I'm for the most part okay with. I just feel like sometimes, again, like it's how articulate you are on certain points versus how much that you might trend towards entertainment. And anyone doing progressive videos on YouTube is going to have to deal with that balance, because there is an entertainment value. No one's going to watch your video if you're boring. I mean, so like part of it I think might also be that, but honestly, like I want to see you make more videos, and I feel that maybe if I had made this video, that it might help you out some. At least that's my intention. I know maybe some people are going to look at this and look at it being all minor things, and in a sense it is, but I attend it as helpful criticism, and hopefully you can interpret it as such. So really, I mean, I don't really have any more closing remarks besides that, so take this video for what you will, and have a good day.